Hello, welcome everyone to the last video of the Kotlin Coroutines playlist, which is about async and await. And of course, when we launch a coroutine, anything that we write there is executed in a sequence way. So line by line. And if we try here to get these files, so I created these two functions, each one returns a file. So let's suppose we are fetching a storage and then reading that file from that storage. And each one returns a file, and each one takes 4 seconds to get that file. If I launch these two functions in a coroutine, then the second function will have to wait for the first one to wait. And so they will take a total of 8 seconds because each one takes 4 seconds. And let's actually try that. So let's launch a global scope dot launch. And since this is an IO operation, we're going to use the dispatchers.io, and then we'll get our files in a variable. So var file1 is equal to get file1, and then for the second file as well, like this. And now let's print the files. So say file1 is file1, and now the second file, so like this. And let's run this now. So now we will have to wait for 8 seconds. And after 8 seconds, we got both the files, the first one and the second one. And to actually see how much time this took, we can use a function called measure time millis that comes from the Kotlin language. So var required time is equal to measure time in millis. And now we can put everything inside that function like this, and we can also print the time. So required time is required time. And now let's run the app again to see how much time this took. As you can see, it took 8 seconds or 8,000 milliseconds. And now to resolve this, we can launch each of these operations in a different coroutine using launch. So we can just say, now this one is a var because we're going to get the data from a coroutine scope. So var of type string, and by default it is going to be null. And the same actually for the second one, like this. And then we launch two coroutines. So we said that we can launch coroutine inside another coroutine in a previous video. So here we can just say file1 is get file1, and we just duplicate this for the second one. So file2 get file2, and we can use the function join that I explained in the previous video. So if you haven't watched that previous video, so we can just say, or actually job, because I didn't create a job. So var job, you can say job1, and var job2. Like this. And then we can just use those jobs to check when we successfully got the files, or when we finish getting the files. So job1 to join, job2 to join. So if you don't know what join is and what job is, you can go to the previous video where I explained these in details. So now again, let's run the app and see how much time it will take. It won't actually take now 8 seconds. Instead, it will only take 4 seconds because they are executed independently. So this one won't wait for this one. As you can see, it took 4 seconds. But this is not a really good approach to do this, because actually Kotlin offers us a function called async, which is exactly used for this, to solve this type of problem. So to do that, we can just actually get rid of these because we don't need them anymore. We won't use jobs. Instead, we will use async, this one. And inside this async, we can get now our file. And basically this async, this one now can be val, and let's just duplicate this for the second file first before I start explaining it, and I don't need these anymore. Now before trying to see what's going to happen, this async returns the last line. So right now it will return a buffered string, so a buffer that includes the string that the last line here returns. So if this function were to return an integer like this, if we go right here, we see that it's a buffer of type integer, and so on. So it returns the last line, and we can have code here, so we can have other code here, but actually this async only cares about the very last line, and it gets the result from that last line. If you don't return anything, then this will be a buffer of type unit, so nothing is returned. Now to get those files, we can just use file1, because as I said, this one is of type buffered, so we need to say buffered, file1 dot await. So this function will give me now the returned value, and the same for that one, await. And actually this won't execute now until this one is finished, and it doesn't mean also that this one getting the second file will have to wait for the first file. No, they will actually execute at the same time, but these two, since they have await, they will have to wait until the corresponding file is loaded. So let's run the app and see how much time this will take now. Maybe I have an error because I wrote integer in here, so I should say string. Let me clear the logcat and run the app. As you can see now, it took only 4 seconds, which is exactly what we want. We got both the files using async and await. So it's been now 8 videos in which I explained coroutines in details, and this is actually the last video. After this playlist, I will start another playlist for coroutine flows, because to understand flows, you need to actually understand coroutines first. So see you in another video, and bye.